Well, hello friends. Welcome back. Today's video is about these Friday music issues. Reissues and issues. Are they any good? I had I think he's a new subscriber, and I want to thanks all the new people that have been joining lately. And thanks to all my old friends for joining in. Just as a kind of a side note here, I want to thank everybody. I got to the 4,000 subscriber mark just the other day, and I was congratulated. I wanted to thank the folks that did that. I didn't even know. I mean, that's something I don't really pay attention to, but they did. They noticed it, and I want to thank them for that. But you know, I've had videos on there. They're a week old already, and there's only 500 views. So obviously, you know, like I had mentioned in one of my other videos, down there below where the video is, you can see where you can subscribe, and it's got a little bell icon. You know, that bell thing wasn't there when I was making my videos before. So a lot of my older subscribers have been letting me know, wait, what happened? All these videos are on, I didn't even know it. It's because they don't have that notification icon. They don't have that highlighted. So that's just a little note for y'all. If you want to keep seeing the videos on a regular basis, of course, you know what to do. Okay, so the first up here, Friday Music Reissue, Boston. Now, I want to preface all this by saying I had one of my, I think he was a newer subscriber because he hadn't obviously watched some of my earlier videos where I do talk about some of these records, and I discuss some of this stuff. So he provided a link to me to go over to the Hoffman forums. And you know how those jokers are over there, yeah. Now, a lot of them, they're like me. They don't want, or like us, they don't want to buy these digital records. They want to know what the source is. And so that's another thing I've been looking out for somebody else that asked me, what about all these you know, half-speed masters coming out of Abbey Road and all this? Yeah, they're all digital stuff. I checked it out. I'll maybe talk about that a bit more later. But so what about these Friday music reissues? Well, most of the ones that I've got, they're from 2010, 2011, in that period. And that's, you know, when Friday Music was making them great records too. And Warner and Rhino's a little bit mixed up with these guys too, you know. So, but this one here, and one of the things they do say over at the Hoffman forums is that when you see where it says mastered from the original Epic record tapes by Joe Ragoso and Kevin Gray at Acoustic RTI, those are normally good. And you know what? I have a lot of that on these Friday Music records. So one thing I thought was cool about a lot of these Friday Music reissues, they put them on a gatefold. I thought that was really nice. Now, they could have made the covers a little bit thicker. They're not that great. It's not like a MoFi, and it's not like the Rhino reissues of the time period. But here's the rub. These jokers, they want to charge the same price. You know, they think that they're in the same league as those people, and that was a bit of a rub with a lot of them. Especially folks overseas in England. These records are very expensive over there, and they're getting these cheesy little covers and stuff, and so they weren't real happy about it. But this one now, I've compared it to a first edition Japanese press, and I used to have, you know, I think it's a CBS Master Sound. I never did like that CBS Master Sound that much. It was too bright right from the get-go. And then I got, about the same time as I've got this stuff, I got a first edition Japanese pressing. Very good. But you know, this Boston, this one here, this Friday Music, it had more bottom end than that Japanese pressing. So I've got this one. So this is better than the original Japanese press. And of course it's better than that CBS one. And it's better than the original pressing. It's very good press, very good. This is a hit, because I'll tell you right now, Friday music is hit and miss. And so you've got to know which ones to get. And of course, when I bought all these things, I didn't know. I'm just, hey, I'm on the Rhino bandwagon. I'm going to get all these reissues. So that's the first one. Next up, Blood, Sweat, and Tears Greatest Hits. This too is on a gatefold. It's not that interesting, but it's a gatefold, which is cool. But it doesn't say on the back here anywhere. It just says manufactured for Friday Music by Sony Music. You know, it did say, oh yeah, it's over here. Mastered by Joe Grosso from the original Columbia tapes at Friday Music Studios and at RTI with Kevin Gray. So they're at Huntington Beach, California and RTI. So I don't know which ones are which, but I kept the record because it did sound good. Then Robert Trower, Bridge of Sighs. Now I don't know how many of you folks are familiar with this record. I hope everybody is, because if you're not familiar with Robin Trower and Bridge of Sighs, the most important thing you can do right now is put this thing on pause and go and find this and listen to it. And then you're going to be wanting to find a copy of this record. This is one of the top 5 records of all time right here. And so, you know, I look a lot for Japanese pressings and this and that. This is something you can't find on an original Japanese press, or even a second edition for that matter. And this one now, it just says it's manufactured from the original Chrysalis tapes, Capitol Records tapes by Joe Grosso at Friday Music, Huntington Beach, California, and at Capitol Records, Hollywood, California, with Ron McMaster. So he's getting help from somebody again, because a lot of people, I read a little bit over on the forums, and they said that this Joe Grosso, he was just, you know, he was a record executive, and he said anybody can master records. So yeah, no, not anybody can master records, and this is the conundrum. This is why they're hit and miss. When he's getting help, they're good. When he's not getting help, I'm not sure, because I got rid of the records. I don't even know what it says on the back. But you know, he did a lot of work with Kevin Gray, and he's working with these other people. You'd think he would learn something. So that is a great sounding record too. Love the sound of that. I had the original. Let's bring it back up. We can look at it again. You know, I've had the original Green Chrysalis Canadian edition of this record for a long time, and that's the first edition of this record. It sounds great, and I was able to get one in near mint condition, and this one sounded a lot better. Okay. Now that is from. Just let me say it again. That is from that period of time. It doesn't say on here, but it's from the 2011, 2010, 2012 in there. That's when I was buying all these records. So I did a little search on Google, and you know, they're making these new discs come out again. The anniversary edition from the 2496 Masters. I don't know. I don't think I want to buy that stuff. If you can find this stuff, this is the one to get. The 180 gram from the original master tape. That's the one to get. And then I got a lot of this this Johnny Winter stuff on Friday Music, because you know, see that old kind of logo, that stereo? Yeah, this is 1969. This Johnny Winter, he was on Capitol originally. And so now this logo, this has just got Friday Music's logo on here, and that little Capitol logo on the bottom. I think it was, I had the original. I've got it. I should have brought it out. I've got the original. I forget what label it's on. I forget what label it's on. Oh, I'll think of it. One of them old-timey labels. You don't see it anymore. But this again, it doesn't say on here anyway. It just says originally released by Capitol Records, FridayMusic.com kind of thing. It has no information about any of that, but it's a good sounding record. Really good sounding record. All I had was like the original one to compare it to, and that one there, Yeah, it's been around the block a few times. It's got a few issues, and that one sounds a lot better. Now, still alive and well. This was when he was on Columbia, and I bought this in probably about 80 or so, 1980. And this one says on it, mastered from the original Columbia record tapes by Joe Ragoso and Kevin Gray at RTI. And 2011, Sony Music Entertainment. And again, I never had a gatefold of this. And look, they put it on a nice gatefold. No, if they would have just made these covers to stick as classic records stuff, oh my goodness, be beautiful. And that's the original label that I had it on originally when I bought it the first time. And you know, Columbia in these years, the sound wasn't as good as those 360, you know, those 2 eyes and the 6 eyes and all that. And this one here sounds really good. It sounded better than the one there, my original that I had. But then again, you're seeing Kevin Gray at RTI, Acoustic Tech. Yeah. That should be good. Second Winter. Now this was always a gatefold because it's a 3 LP. Now it came out on a 2 LP set, but it's a 3 LP, so it was always on a gatefold. And again, Sony Entertainment 2011. You know, but they were still going over to RTI in 2011, but it doesn't say anything here. It says manufactured for Friday Music by Sony. That's all it says. FridayMusic.com. And I checked the labels earlier, and the labels are cool. I'll show you the label. Yeah, I was surprised when I saw this again. I forgot that it was on this label. They put it on the Columbia 6i of all things. Now that's pretty cool. And it doesn't say anything on here except for 2011 Sony Music. But I know they were still over at RTI in 2011, so. But they sound great. And I had an original, of this record now, I did have the Columbia 2i. I had the 360 sound. I had the Columbia 2i, which is the original pressing on, the original label on this. This is better. This sounded better to me. So it's a keeper. Now Edgar Winter. Now this always was on a gatefold. And it used to have the record was inside here, the digipack, what they used to call that. Where you have to go to get the record on the inside, and this was a really thin. Of course, they made it into a normal gatefold. And on the back, we've got mastered from the original Epic record tapes, Joe Ragoso and Kevin Gray. Acoustic, RTI. Now, if any of you folks have got this, and this was originally released on the orange Epic, and they've got it on the yellow Epic. They went up one little step. I don't came out on the yellow. It was always on the orange Epic, which was the label after this. And that's the one I had it on. And back in the day when I didn't have a lot of the records that I have, like back in say 1982 or something, and I have a few of the boys over from work and we listen to some records, I would put that Frankenstein of this record, put that on there, and they'd start looking at themselves. What's going on? Where's all that music? Man, they're dynamic. This thing was recorded so great. That one song in particular, everything, the drum kit especially, just coming through loud and clear and kicking. This is a great record for it just sounds great. And look, now it was reissued, and Kevin Gray's got his name on it over there at RTI, so it was better than the original one. Loved it. And I've got this just for show and tell, a quadraphonic edition of it. And let's see what they got for a label on this. Yeah, they've got that. It's a gold label, of course. I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, but they've got the Oval, Epic, and SQ quadraphonic up in there. But you know, this record here, Near Mint, and what these. I was going to talk about these quadraphonics on on it because I've got another one, and I was going to talk about the whole deal about that whole process, and I'll do that later. I'll get out my other quadraphonic record. It's a Santana Abraxas, and then we'll talk about this quadraphonic stuff, but I just wanted to show you all that at the same time. Now, the Moody Blues, a question of balance. This is one of those records that they put on the side. I don't know why they do that. But this one, this was also released as a Friday Music reissue, and I bought it. At the time, I just had a Canadian pressing, original London label pressing. It was sounding great, but I got the Friday Music reissue. It sounded better. It really did. They really did a good job on that Friday Music reissue. But you know, when I listened to it, and I had to listen to it quite a bit, and when I finally I decided, I said, this is better than the one I have, so I'll sell that. But I think it could be better because I'm not hearing that breath of life in his voice the way it should be. Because when you get used to listening to hi-fi, you get to pick up on certain cues and you listen for certain things, and I wasn't hearing it in his voice on this. So look how nice this record is. This is an original Japanese pressing, and it's on the Threshold label, on the white Threshold label. And this is THL-2. This was the second record that they put out on that series of THL. And boy, now this one has the breath of life in it. So of course, you know what happened to that Friday Music? I found something that sounded better. And it was a Japanese first edition. But I can't tell you how that other one was made because I don't remember. But I do remember it sounded great. Now it's going to sound better than any domestic copy that you've got. So if you do find the Friday Music reissue and you're looking for something that sounds better than what you got, that'll work. That will. Is it the ultimate? No. Okay, well looky here. Yeah, guess what sounded better than the Friday Music reissue of The Captain and Me by the Doobie Brothers? Yeah, that Friday Music reissue was a dud of this record. It sounded horrible. And so I only had a second edition at the time. And my second edition sounded better than the Friday Music. So I said, wow, I need to run out and get that first edition. And of course it sounded much better than the reissue. So it's like how many steps up from the Friday Music one. So that Friday Music, Doobie Brothers Captain and Me, that one's a dud on the Friday Music. Now, of course, you know, they put out a lot of records, and I, of course, not buying all their stuff. I'm just buying what I got. So, and then again, we talked about this. Friday Music, Muscle of Love was reissued by Friday Music. It's another dud. The original one that I in the box, that one sounds fantastic. School's Out. Again, I've had many, many copies of this, and I don't see anything on here. It just says 2009. Now listen to this. 2009 Warner Brother Records, produced under license from Warner Brother Records, manufactured by Rhino Company, made in the USA, Friday Music Incorporated. Remastered from the original Warner Brother Vault tapes by Joe Ragoso at Friday Music Studios, Surf City, California, at Capitol Records Mastering, Hollywood, California, with Ron McMaster in 2009. So that goes to answer one of my questions. They can make a great sounding record over there at Capitol Mastering, and I believe this is from they said from the original master tape, so this is '09. They're not doing digital records yet. So they can make a good sounding record over there at Capitol Mastering. And well, I guess that's going to be it for this video. I'll go grab a couple more records. We'll finish up with this stuff, and then we'll have another video. Okay? We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.